What is up, everybody? And welcome back to the Bat in the Hat podcast, where we dive deep into all things nerd. My name, of course, is Roy Harper, and with me, as always, is Matt. Just Matt. What's up, Matt?
Hello. That's it.
Today we got a lot of shit to talk about. We got a lot of news this week. And of course, because it is the Mandalorian season, we are going to be week by week talking about each episode of the Mandalorian, or at least I will, whether Matt's able to be here with me or not, or maybe we'll have other people. Maybe I'll have a fucking interview with the Mandalorian himself. Who knows? Probably not.
Let me get this out real fast before I forget. You just reminded me of something.
Get it out.
I'm going to call him a friend of mine because I've met him through social media, but there's a guy that makes these fantastic, I'm not even going to call them parody songs because he's so talented and the videos are amazing. His YouTube and everything else handle is Royish Good Looks.
Okay.
He's super famous from a Rick and Morty song that he did about Mr. Meeseeks.
Okay.
And he did one for The Mandalorian called This Is the Way. And it's amazing. So if you guys like The Mandalorian, if you like Star Wars at all, just...
Are they original songs?
Yes.
Okay, so
yes.
He makes original songs.
So like the Mr. Meeseeks song, he took clips from the show.
Oh, it's I'm Mr. Meeseeks, look at me.
Yes.
I'm Mr. Meeseeks,
yes sirree.
Fuck, I love that song.
Yeah, that's him. So, but I talked to him on social media and stuff. He's a really cool guy.
Right.
But his original songs that are mostly Star Wars related, it's him singing and performing and everything, and they're fantastic. So if you get a chance, guys, listen. He just dropped "This Is the Way."
Well, that's super cool.
Fantastic.
You said it's YouTube Royish Good Looks.
Royish Good Looks.
Royish Good Looks. Y'all check that out for sure. And also, while you're there, if you haven't already subscribed to the Bat in the Hat podcast on YouTube, go ahead and find us and subscribe. And I guess,
check us out too.
Yeah. Also, we only post our podcast episodes there, but we have a lot of content coming out that we've been working on lately. And it's going to be coming. I know I've been saying that for like 2 fucking years, but whatever.
What's 3?
Yeah. Also, go ahead and obviously, now that we're here, please like us, subscribe, give us ratings on whatever podcast streaming app that you are using, and follow us on social media. The Bat in the Hat podcast on Facebook, and then Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all at Bat Hat Pod.
Yeah.
So please find us, follow us. I post really good shit. My Instagram is our Instagram is popping off now. I mean, I'm posting a lot of good shit every chance I get. Videos and stuff get posted there as well. I have more short videos on there than I do on TikTok or YouTube or anything like that.
And if you're listening right now, thank you. And on top of that, restart the episode when you're done and listen more.
Yeah.
You asshole.
Actually, it goes by download, so if they listen 100 times, it doesn't do shit.
Well, delete it and download it again, goddammit.
Welcome, and thank you guys for listening, like Matt said. And of course, our first piece of news is a little bit of a solemn piece, and it is the passing of Mr. Alex Trebek, Jeopardy host for the last 500 years. Died at 80 years old from pancreatic cancer. He lost his battle with pancreatic cancer.
Did you hear the circumstances, though? Like, it wasn't necessarily...
Were there circumstances?
Well, I don't think he necessarily lost.
Uh-huh.
I think if I'm not mistaken now, full disclosure, I could be talking out of my ass here. I think eventually he said, you know what? I'm not doing treatments anymore.
Right.
I'm just going to live out the remainder of my life, and when I go, I go.
If the article that I had read is referring to the same thing that you are, I think he kind of was like, it's not getting better.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be sick from chemo and therapy and all the treatments. I'd rather just, whatever.
And we all know that Connery just passed as well.
So I wanted to talk about that. I didn't want to make a joke necessarily, but
I know what you're going to say.
So I didn't want to make a joke, but I did want to kind of revel in the happiness that the
SNL.
That first of all, I love Alex Trebek and Sean Connery. Both of those people have meant a lot in my life, in all of our lives. I feel like you cannot say you grew up without Jeopardy being on some waiting room TV that you were sitting in.
If you're 100 years old or less, you know both of these celebrities.
Yeah. And obviously SNL had a very popular celebrity Jeopardy sketch that was recurring. That was Will Ferrell as Alex Trebek.
Yep.
And I can't remember the name of the gentleman who did Sean Connery, but Sean Connery was in every episode, not the real Sean Connery, but he was in every skit. And he was like the mortal enemy of Trebek, and Trebek hated him, and he would always be like, Sean Connery, it'd be like, I'd like to pick Le Tits Now for 1,000. That's let it snow. No, Trebek, it's le tits now. It's a French expression, as in bonjour, mademoiselle. I'd like to see le tits now. And it would just be the funniest, stupidest thing in the world. And I loved...
Just like I did to your mother, Trebek.
Yeah, just like I did to your mother, Trebek. I love... we always make jokes at work, and we talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Even right before this happened, we were making the joke of... I was thinking of you, so I wrote your name in the snow, Trebek. Of course, it was in your mother's handwriting. She was holding the pen, Trebek. You know, it's just something really stupid and funny. And it's so bizarre that the real Sean Connery and Alex Trebek passed away within a week of each other.
So it was funny you said that, because, like, I saw... So it was a meme, but, like, you get it. Like, part of you's like, is this in poor taste? But then the other part of you's like, the
right.
skit's legendary, and nobody's saying it like.
I don't think anybody's making fun of their passing. But I saw the one
where it said even in death, Connery went first and said, "Suck it, Trebek."
Right.
And you know, you smile because I mean that bit brought happiness to so many people. I mean, of course, it's terrible that they're both gone, but
and you know what? It's I haven't looked it up. I'd like to see if I can find something later. And if you guys get the chance, please. Google it, or I'd like to see if they ever had their own reactions, or if somebody asked them in interviews or whatnot to those skits, and if they thought they were funny. They had to have thought they were funny. It
was on for decades. It seems like
they've probably done that skit like 10 different times, and it's so funny. But rest in peace, Alex Trebek, man. That's such a crazy loss, because I remember, was it just last year he announced that he had pancreatic, or maybe 2 years ago?
Yeah,
he announced he had pancreatic cancer, and everybody was like, "Oh no!" And then the world kind of forgot about it because he wasn't a very public person. I think
it was just like with Chadwick Boseman, man. Like, everybody's going through their own struggles.
Yeah.
And they don't always share it with everybody.
Right.
So, anyways, rest in peace.
Rest in peace, for sure. Yeah. For both of them. Yeah. Alex Trebek and Sean Connery. The next bit of news is interesting. It's not solemn, but here on this show, we stand with Johnny Depp. Justice for Johnny Depp. Of course, there are both sides to that story that we're not going to get into, but Johnny Depp has unfortunately been asked to resign from the Fantastic Beasts franchise. And it's kind of crazy because that's a Warner Brothers property, and Amber Heard
is still playing Mara
in the upcoming Justice League Snyder Cut and then further things. So which is pretty crazy. So he was asked to resign because they were both Warner Brothers properties, and it was conflicting, and they were having such a nasty legal battle.
Yeah.
And allegations and whatnot between both of them. It was getting really bad. Unfortunately,
and some hard proof between
for sure. Both of them have released proof, and it's pretty awful. However, unfortunately, I don't want to say unfortunately, because like I don't know them personally. So while I always say, justice for Depp, I don't know enough of their personal life to say anything. However, I will say, unfortunately, the studio sided with Amber Heard, and they asked Johnny Depp, maybe because they felt Amber Heard's role was more important going forward. Warner Brothers, by the way, who right now has a pretty bad reputation of how they treat their actors and how minorities and women and things are treated. So it's kind of interesting of how they picked Amber Heard's side. However, the other interesting side of this is that Johnny Depp's contract, he's still going to get paid $10 million for the scenes that he did shoot for Fantastic Beasts.
That's probably why they don't feel so bad, because they're like, we're still going to cut you a huge check.
Right. So and it could have been because Amber Heard had more money on her contract, and they're like, we can either pay Johnny Depp 10 mil or we can pay Amber Heard, 40 mil, whatever. But you never know. But I do think it's interesting that because per his contract, he still is set to make, I think he shot 2 scenes, and he's making $10 million.
That's a pretty good, reasonable rate, $5 million a scene.
Yeah, I mean, for the legendary Johnny Depp, I'm a big fan of his. And you know what's weird?
Isn't?
I'm a big fan of Amber Heard's as well, or I say that cautiously. I say that very cautiously because of, again, the allegations and stuff of abuse that you've been seeing in the media. So I don't want to comment further. If you have input, I'd love to hear it, but I don't know enough. So, I mean, do you have any idea of what's going on?
No, I'm going to tread lightly with this situation.
Abuse is such a tricky topic. However, I will, and I don't mean to cut you off, I will just say that it's so often in this world that we side, not to say that the plight of man is worse than that of women, but because of how our system is set up now in history, we automatically side with women on these issues when sometimes men are being abused as well. So I just like everybody to keep that in mind when doing research. And if you have an opinion and you have not done research on that opinion, shut the fuck up.
Mm,
What were you gonna say?
I forgot. No, something about Johnny Depp, I think. Yep, I don't remember.
Well, if it dawns on you, we'll circle back. Super.
Oh, I got it.
Okay.
I was gonna say real quick, and then we're done. So he lost in court with this already.
Right.
However, I think the backlash that's coming out publicly from this is actually going to do him more of a benefit than court.
You think?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. I mean, I could see that. There's like a big online movement for this right now. So we'll see.
Usually when there's bullshit, people can smell it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But we'll see. You know, it'll play out how it's supposed to play out. We don't condone. I shouldn't have to say this, but
Of course,
just in case, we don't condone abuse towards women or men. And it does happen the other way sometimes.
Yeah, victims exist on both sides. It's open. It's important to be open and to be heard.
I did see. Okay, so this will be my last point. I
be
did see
Amber
something really interesting. Because you know how the internet is. People are smart asses. They know everything. They're super intelligent. Blah blah blah. No one's ever wrong.
Yeah.
Well, somebody, of course, came out and said, "Where you at, feminists?" Blah 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 blah. Spouting their mouth off. And I did see a response, and this woman said, I am a feminist, and a true feminist will tell you that abuse is not right on either side. And it's apparent that, well, they don't know either, but they said it looks fairly obvious that Johnny Depp was the victim here.
Right.
And the reason that men don't speak out is because of situations like this.
Right.
And I just thought that was very...
Well, true feminism is about equality, not
been about
not
equality.
flopping the power head here.
Yep. So, but I'm not going to dip into stuff I don't need to be.
No, I mean it's fair enough. I would say we'd love to hear your guys' opinion on it, but please, if you're gonna message us, if you are gonna message us about it, do your research first, because we'd love to hear some.
Only
hard
message
facts.
us if you agree. If you don't,
only message us if you agree with our opinions, because we're always right.
If you don't, go back to Joe Rogan or something. Assholes.
Here's something crazy. Hasbro just acquired Death Row Records in a $4 billion deal. Now, that was not a $4 billion deal for Death Records. They bought a myriad of companies and properties. Death Row Records happened to be in part of that. So Hasbro, the gaming and toy company, just bought Death Row Records, and it's my favorite thing ever. Big West Coast fan, big fan of 90s hip-hop myself, and Suge Knight, I hope, rots in jail for the rest of his natural born life. And I just can't believe that Death Row... First of all, I didn't know Death Row technically was still like an entity that could be bought. I thought it kind of had dissolved. But nope, now Hasbro owns them. So we may get a stupid dope line of Death Row toys coming in the near future, like throwback 90s toys.
Tupac is in the Bahamas just laughing right now.
I thought it was Cuba. Is it the Bahamas?
I don't care.
I don't. It's somewhere. Producers of The Last Dance are going to make a documentary for Stone Cold Steve Austin.
You have no idea how excited about that I am.
I knew you would be. I wanted to talk to you about this specifically because I know you're a big wrestling fan, and I'm not. I just didn't get into it growing up. However, when I watch it with friends, I'm always entertained, of course.
So, like, recently there was a documentary about The Undertaker. Obviously, everybody knows The Undertaker, whether you're a wrestling fan or you're not.
Right.
The Undertaker is one of the most well-known athletes in sports entertainment of all time.
Right.
And they did a 5-part mini-series called The Last Ride.
Was that by them, though? Was that the same people?
I don't think it was, but I wouldn't be surprised because it was like just as good. But it's so interesting because in the all throughout wrestling history, they lived by the creed called kayfabe, where they they acted like all of their characters were real outside of the ring. They wouldn't expose their real lives.
So it's like what method? They were very method for their characters.
So for decades, the Undertaker was the Undertaker. That was it.
Right.
You knew nothing about Mark Calloway.
That explains Hulk Hogan to a T.
Right. But like with the development of social media and obviously things change.
Right.
It was so interesting that all these years later, he had a 30-year career with WWE essentially, but to see behind the veil of like who Mark Calloway is, the Undertaker, and it's just so cool to watch. So I can't wait to see it about Stone Cold because he's just we all know him as the beer chugging, freaking ass kicking.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's just him. Like I feel like he's not far off from who he really is in real life. So.
It's super possible. Like I grew up under the impression that he was who he was. You know, that there
Yeah, I didn't think he
wasn't
was
much.
acting.
It's pretty crazy because I had the mirror broken for me this year that Larry the Cable Guy spoke with a really normal fucking voice.
Oh yeah, his accent's fake.
Like it's all just for the stage and for his stuff.
Yep.
No idea that Larry the Cable Guy was a character.
Yeah, when he first came out with that gimmick, I mean, obviously everybody loved him when he first came out.
Yeah, it was funny.
But I remember when I first learned it was all like a show too. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Right.
This is incredible. So.
So that's really cool. I got to be honest, I haven't watched The Last Dance yet. And you know, I'm not the biggest basketball fan. I of course grew up in the 90s and Michael Jordan was a huge thing, but God, I don't know why I haven't wanted to sit down and get through it yet. And maybe it's just cuz I've been busy and I have other stuff that keeps me occupied, but I know that everyone's told me it's incredible. I just haven't done it. I did, however, and Trey, if you're listening, Trey was on the show a couple weeks ago and was making fun of me because I haven't watched the Lego Batman movie yet. And I just watched it the other day with my girlfriend. And
average at best.
A hard disagree. It was so fucking funny. Like, I was squealing the entire time just because I hate kids movies typically.
I saw it in theaters and was like, that's it.
Okay, so I would never go see this in theaters. However,
I have 2 nephews, so I have an excuse.
Yeah, that's
and now you can't because you'll get the COVID virus.
Yes,
or whatever.
I thought it was so. There were so many Easter eggs and so many stupid jokes and so many. It was so enjoyable. It's kind of the reason I love Teen Titans Go. It was exactly that, and I thought that it was pretty awesome. But I'll get on The Last Dance when I get the chance. But HBO Max Green Lantern show was just revealed recently in, I don't remember if it was a post by one of the producers who said that it's going to take place in 3 different time periods, not timelines, like it's all on the same timeline.
Right.
But it's going to take place. The reason we're getting Alan Scott as well as newer Lanterns is it's going to take place in the 1940s, the 1980s, and then present day. So we're going to have some, which the 80s thing kind of tripped me up because the 40s makes sense. We got Alan Scott, we got the Justice Society, but the list of lanterns they gave are pretty much modern day lanterns.
Well, they said Hal and John aren't in it, right?
Right. Hal and John. Well, at least,
or it's not starring.
It's not starring them. We don't know what capacity they may show up or be mentioned or whatnot.
Right.
So, but the list of lanterns that they gave us were pretty like modern day lanterns and shit. But they did say that there were going to be a couple of surprise lanterns. However, I don't feel like those are just going to be stuck in the 80s. So I'm curious to see who they move to the 80s.
You think they'll make any new characters?
Yeah, 2 of them that they said are going to be new
they
lanterns.
Just created them for the show.
And we thought
pretty cool.
when we were talking last week about the woman of color that they're going to be casting.
That's right.
She is going to be, and they thought it was going to be Sojourner from the Far Sector book, and they said it won't be her. So we know it's going to be a new lantern.
Gotcha.
However, that tripped me up so much to hear about the 1980s. Now we don't know how much they're going to interact. We don't know how much we know it's the same timeline, so they're all consistent, but we don't know if, for instance, Alan Scott will interact with present day people, if there's going to be time travel, if there's going to be, anything like that. So
lanterns typically don't time travel though, do they?
They don't. However,
they have.
The DC universe is built on a multiverse. So if they really wanted, my favorite stories growing up when I was reading comics was when the Justice League and the Justice Society, I'm a huge Justice Society fan. And when the League and the Justice Society would somehow get together through whether time travel or dimension hopping or whatever, that was my favorite.
Speaking of Justice Society, you know who like one of my favorite characters is, but I would never in a million years accept the power if it was offered to me, is Dr. Fate.
Oh, man.
Because you're just a slave.
So,
you don't even get to enjoy it.
That's so interesting. And I'm glad that you're here on this episode because I just finished going through all 3 seasons of Young Justice again. And it was just as good as any other time I had gone through it. That show is fucking amazing. Perfect.
And I can't wait for the new
Can't wait. Would you remember what it's called, season 4?
3 was Invasion, right?
No, 2 was Invasion, 3 was Outsiders.
And
then 4 is, they put the name out.
Like Annihilation or something?
Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe
it in that?
Young Justice Annihilation. That sounds right, but I just don't remember.
God, it was
I'm excited though. So I just went through, and again, I've said this on a billion episodes. I'm a huge Teen Titans collector. That show effectively was encompassing the Titans and they basically were like, we don't need Young Justice and Titans. We're just going to make the team. They didn't even call themselves Young Justice or anything.
They did so much fan service in that show.
So much fan service. Everything about it was fan service.
Like, there's an unbelievable amount of at least cameos, but half the time these people would be in for like a whole episode.
Right.
Like, just awesome characters that you're like, huh?
Yeah.
Like,
and what characters. I actually really liked about it is they would drop in characters that you sometimes had to Google or sometimes, and they wouldn't bother explaining it because it's like, oh, but this is just who's here. Harper Rowe, like, okay, Harper Rowe's there, and they didn't bother giving her. Maybe she'll have a bigger role in the next season, but they had what's his name? Not Scooter.
Shooter McGavin.
No shit. What was the name of the kid who was like the friend of the Justice League back in the 40s and shit, and he oh fuck, I can't remember his name, but
Beaver. Leave it to Beaver.
No, it's actually kind of killing me. But they would drop those characters, the Harpers, like Roy Harper and Jim Harper and all them, Arsenal and Nightwing and the different Robins. The way that they handled the Robins was great.
They even did the League and all that stuff.
League of Shadows. They did everything, man.
Sportsmaster was the
Sportsmaster
balls in that show, dude. He was awesome.
I love it. I loved everything about that show, and I can't wait for the 4th season.
Yep.
And I really thought that it was a good way of like, hey, here's these characters. We're not going to give every single one a background story, but for those of you who are like real fans out there, look, Forager, what a fucking weird character to pull from obscurity.
Yep.
Because he was a big in the Forever People and New Gods and Mr. Miracle. Like, Forager was a character. And from what I remember in the comics, he was not like that, like he was in the show, like that bug kind of like monotone, like Forager is Forager, Fred Bug is Fred Bug. Like, he wasn't really like that, but I enjoyed it so much. I was like, holy shit.
Well, even the more well-known stuff they did, like, remember when they went to Santa Prisca with Bane?
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, this is awesome.
And that's exactly it. Sometimes you would get, on the flip side of that, you would get big characters.
Big stuff.
That were only in it for a minute, and they were just like, oh, whatever. Orion, They just
like,
dropped...
oh, you got to help Bane get Venom from Santa Prisca? No problem. This is just, this week's episode on Young Justice.
In one episode, Orm is still, like, in Atlantis and friends, like, he's still his brother's right hand.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next season, he's trying to murder... in just one episode, he's trying to murder the families of the superheroes, and he gets killed. And there was no in between. It was just like, we don't need to give you the entire DC backstory, but here's fun like tidbits.
I will say in between, and then I'll stop with this. But I will say in between seasons, sometimes they did confuse me a bit.
Just with like time jumping.
Yeah, I was like, is there a time jump? Are we picking up where we left off? Is this a whole new thing?
Yeah,
and then you have to like figure it out, and you're like, oh, okay.
Right. They didn't really bother explaining the time jump stuff. However, after the fact, once the producers were like, yeah, there's about a 5-year time jump between each season.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, fuck, all this makes sense now.
Yeah,
and watching it again from start to finish, I picked up on so many things that I didn't the first time.
You see Robin in like 12, and then the next season he's like 38.
Yeah.
Like, huh?
It's really cool. Halloween Kills dropped a teaser sometime this week, or last week. I had no idea. I just was on YouTube today, and I was looking at stuff, and I was trying to, see if I'd missed anything. And
Did you see
I missed
the last one? The last Halloween movie?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Did you like it?
I did very much, actually. I'm guessing you didn't by the look on your face?
I thought it was okay. Like, yeah. Because when they dropped the trailer, I was like, did I see that last one? And then I was like, oh, I guess I did. It was all right.
I very much liked it. I thought it was like creepy without it being over the top. The Rob Zombie films are great, but they're a little over the top. And I think a lot of the sequels for Halloween got super over the top.
The original one sucks. Like, I watched it on Halloween.
I loved it.
And I was like, this movie sucks.
I love the original one, but you're right, it's a bad movie.
It's horrible.
Yeah, it's again by today's like standards. But yeah, I just thought that was crazy because at some point last week they dropped that teaser and I missed it. I was like, oh fuck, I guess whatever. But Disney delayed Death on the Nile as well as Free Guy, Ryan Reynolds' Free Guy, into 2021 due to COVID-19. Which sucks, but I get why they keep doing this.
They might as well do like the Mulan thing, honestly.
Yeah, Free Guy seems like a Mulan kind of movie. That's one that they
$30 Disney Plus, which I think is a horrible ripoff, by the way. Like, you're paying for your streaming service.
Oh, I disagree.
Well, but hold on, let me finish.
Go ahead.
Like, you're paying for your streaming service, right? And you got to pay $30 for the movie,
right?
And you don't even get to keep it.
Right.
You only keep it as long as you keep paying for Disney Plus. That's the part that I don't like.
Yes, but so here's the thing: is that Mulan was supposed to release in theaters.
Sure.
It had a budget. They had a plan on how the money was going to be made back. They had to. If you go to the theater with you and your family, you're paying $30 anyways. You're not keeping that movie. At least if you get a couple friends together to watch it on street. That's just my 2 cents. I think that some of these movies are budgeted specifically for if they're going to be streaming, like Netflix originals. We're used to Netflix originals, so we're like, oh fuck, why do they have to charge us? But that movie was budgeted for a theatrical release.
I've got no problem with them charging for it.
Right.
Like, I get that. I 100% agree with what you just said.
So, you think we should be able to keep it then?
Yes.
Okay.
I think if you're
That's
paying
fair.
a premium price for it, because a normal price for a new release, like on Vudu or something like that,
right,
is between $20 and $25.
Right.
This one, they want you to pay $30 on top of your monthly subscription.
Right.
And you don't get to keep it. I don't like that. I feel like you should.
But don't you get to keep it as long as you still have the service?
Yes, but
like you can go back
crazy.
And watch it.
Like, I'm just saying, but that's like, it's contingent on you.
Yeah.
Like, so I mean,
I'm with you. I get what you're saying.
That was my only gripe with it.
It just sucks because we keep getting screwed out of paying
because all the
for
other
stuff.
home theater release movies you kept.
Right.
They would say you can rent it, which it was crazy. They'd be like, you can rent it for 20 or you can own it for 24. And you're like,
really?
Ooh, I'll rent it. I'm like, come on, just buy it.
Fuck. New set pics revealed Tyler Hoechlin's rebirth-inspired Superman suit on the set of Superman and Lois. I gotta tell you guys, there's somewhere on the Bat in the Hat on Facebook, we posted the article for this. It looks great. It looks so good. I was a fan of how they did his suit anyways. Not a huge fan of the Supergirl show, but I was a fan of that suit. Tyler Hoechlin looks kind of derpy to me. I don't think I love him as Superman. However, when I saw him walking around, he was walking around on set, he had a mask, and he had the new suit on. It looked really fucking good. So I'm pretty excited about that. I always say I'm done with the CW shows, but I at least got to give this a couple episodes maybe.
This is going to sound silly, especially because of the context of our show, but are any of them still on?
I know, right? Doesn't it sound crazy?
Yeah.
Like currently airing right this second? No, they're in the middle of their seasons and things have been delayed. But I know Flash is still technically on air. I think Legends is still on air. I don't know. They're bad shows. They're not good shows.
I literally restarted Arrow because I'm such a huge fan of the first 3 seasons.
Yes.
And
agreed.
I still am. Like, I'm like, damn, this is still good. Like,
yeah.
I'm watching. I'm like, this is really
good. Yeah, you can go
good.
back and rewatch it. Oh, I got something for that too, actually. That's kind of interesting you said that because, and I'll skip ahead a couple just because we're bringing it up.
We play by our own rules here on this show.
I tried to, right after I was done with Young Justice, I was like, I'm going to rewatch Titans. I got 2 episodes in. I was like, fuck, this is awful. Titans is a bad show, and I don't know why. Now, maybe it's because
First of all, you shut your whore mouth.
Maybe it's because I'm such a Teen Titans fan that while it was like first coming out, I was like, this is amazing. We get to see all the... And I tried to watch it, and it was such bad writing, and I didn't like any of it. However, I'm going to keep pushing through, and maybe I'll change my mind again. But Titans, speaking of, Beast Boy, they just announced that he should finally be able to change into more than just a tiger for season 3. And that is, if you guys have been listening to the show, you guys know that last week, maybe the week before, I said that there's more than likely going to be a time jump. Like, we're going to go into the future 3, 4, 5 years from the end of the last season. Superboy's probably going to have more of his powers figured out. Beast Boy, more of his powers. Nightwing's maybe a little more used to being Nightwing. Jason Todd's already dead and brought back.
I was gonna say,
but
Jason
died.
Todd.
We know that there's going to be a Tim Drake showing up in this season.
That's
So
cool.
I'm thinking that there will be a time jump. And I think this kind of also shows that because even at the end of the second season, Beast Boy had no handle on his powers. Also, I'm pretty sure the amount of times between both seasons that he turned into a tiger was like 4 times max.
Yeah,
like,
he didn't really beast up.
He didn't do shit. So I'm hoping they
He started kind of being pretty good with his hands, though, at the end of season 2. Like, he started fighting pretty well.
Well, what I'm hoping is, honestly, and this is not even a joke, I hope that new HBO Max money is gonna make a better produced show going forward, because you could obviously tell that Beast Boy's transformations was a budget choice at first.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have the budget to keep animating a tiger. Even when it was on screen, it looked kind of wonky.
Yep.
I'm hoping that with the HBO Max money, and them going to that platform, it's going to be a little bit maybe they'll even have better writing, who knows.
You know, all I want right from Titans is I'm pointing to his Red Hood versus Deathstroke pop.
Versus Red Hood.
I want Deathstroke to come back, and I want him and Jason Todd to have one proper fight.
Yeah. You know what? I'm
proper fight.
Yeah, and again, you asked before we even got, because we were talking a little bit before we started recording. We have no word on if Deathstroke is going to return. I would like to hope he does.
Yeah, I think he'd be a good recurring villain, even if it's not like, he's the main villain. Like, just come back like he does in the Titans.
The thing is, he is the Titans' greatest enemy in all of comic. That's why I was so upset that he just kind of died at the end of the last season.
I don't think he died.
I don't think so either. But they gave nothing. They were not like there's a Lazarus pit or anything like that.
They just didn't send it off so well. I mean, we were all excited. We were like, all right, we finally got Nightwing.
Right.
He's gonna fight Deathstroke.
There were a couple amazing episodes and scenes in that show. And
season 2 was great until the finale.
Yeah. I told somebody the other day, I was like, season 2 was almost perfect until that last fucking episode.
And then they screwed up the most important part.
A couple things I want to talk about. Miles Morales. Miles Morales, they had a launch trailer, like a trailer saying, hey, the game is out. It's out on the 12th, but it's like, finally, this is the trailer. Anyways, it showed the Prowler, and it showed another villain who I don't know, but it also was like a purple and green themed villain. 2 villains, same color scheme, but the Prowler, it showed him. It also showed that he may already know who Miles is, and it will show, because it's going to be Aaron Davis. It's going to be his uncle.
Do you see about the suit where you can do it like Spider-Verse style, and it makes you kind of glitch?
I think you and me actually talked about that last week. Yeah, it's really cool because again, they animate that suit in a lower frame rate, and I think it's really great. But not only did the launch trailer drop, we got the first 22 minutes, like theatrically on IGN released Miles Morales, and I watched it today.
Yeah. Great.
Did you watch the 22? It was awesome, right?
It looks just like the last one did.
Yep.
Like just
a little smoother.
His acrobatics are way different.
So it's different because I love that he flings through the air and kind of flails because he's still not. I bet you by the end of the game he's a very smooth web slinger, but he clearly was not used to swinging.
He's got his moments though, like he does some sick little flips and parkour moves. And
did it look to you that he was wearing? I think he was supposed to be wearing the just classic spider suit. It looked to me like he was wearing the MCU spider suit, because he wasn't wearing like a Miles suit. He was wearing Peter's old suit. But it looked to me like, with the eyes especially, it looked like he was wearing like the Tom Holland suit in that 22 minutes.
Oh, I saw a different video then, because I saw where he was wearing the black Miles suit.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see?
I must have watched a different
where when him
video.
And Peter fought the Rhino and all that kind of stuff.
No, I watched a different game.
Oh no, yeah. Then. So IGN dropped. It's literally the first, like when you press start, the first 22 minutes of the game, and you and Peter are trying to take down the Rhino together.
Oh, cool.
Very, very cool. I can't fucking wait. I'm so excited.
Check that out after the show.
I unfortunately am nowhere near being able to buy the PS5.
Oh
so,
yeah, big ups everybody. This is a very important time with our new consoles dropping. Next gen consoles, baby.
PS5 and Xbox Series X.
Xbox X1 and XXX, X and XX.
Have you seen on Instagram all the celebrities getting their personalized Xbox Series X's?
Yeah, idiots.
I fucking hate it.
I mean, that's cool.
James Gunn got his. The Rock got his. It's just fuck all of you.
Snoop Dogg has an Xbox fridge.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Oh, you know what? I did see that. That's dope. Yeah, it sucks. But so I'm going to be buying it on my PS4. I'm so glad that they decided to I thought that they were going to only drop it for PS5 and be like, that's the big selling point. You buy the PS5 and you can buy the game and stuff. Luckily, they're going to have it but I think there are PS5 exclusives. But if you pay for like a bundle, it allows you so that when you upgrade to the PS5, you still have the game.
I was going to say, guys, I'm sure most of you probably know well more than I do. But that's the benefit of it. If you have a PS4, I'm only talking about PlayStation for right now, keep buying the new games if you're nowhere near to getting a PS5, because they have free upgrades.
Yeah.
Most of them upgrade for free.
Madden, I know, is going to upgrade.
It's amazing, because like the new Far Cry, you get a free upgrade. Miles Morales.
Yeah.
Everything that comes out for both,
something that
get a free upgrade.
They never have done before. They're now
awesome.
A lot of and I got to tell you, I'm still salty about it. I spent $100 fucking on pre-ordering Madden a year ago.
Oof.
And then it turned out to be the worst Madden
garbage
ever, and I hate it so much. I haven't played it in months, to be honest.
The last one I got was the one with Mahomes on the cover. I think
Yeah,
that was
that
the
was
year
last year.
prior.
My buddy still plays that all the time.
Yeah, that one's fine.
He got the new one, but he still plays that one all the time because he's like, I don't want to waste my time building an ultimate team in this bullshit ass game. I'm gonna use my awesome ultimate team from Madden 20. Fuck you guys. Like,
as long as I can play with Joe Burrow as my quarterback, I'm good.
Yeah.
So
the who's been doing awesome, man.
he's killing.
I like Burrow.
Fantastic.
The this is really cool. Toys and Pops have been leaked a lot of times. You guys know, for movies and for TV shows, the first leak of spoiler comes from Toys. Comes from, hey, this is getting sent around to other executives because they want to check out what's going on. There are Quicksilver figures, Funko Pops, and actual action figures for WandaVision specifically. And there's a big hype train around now that either Quicksilver is going to be brought back, or that there's going to be a lot of flashbacks or hallucin. We also know it's a very hallucination kind of show where we don't know what's real and what's not.
Yeah, it's based in Oregon, so pretty much anything goes. It's going to be pretty trippy.
However, I love I don't remember his name. Aaron Taylor Johnson, is that his name? He played Kick-Ass.
Either that or flip those names around in order that might surprise
Jonathan
you.
Taylor Thomas, JTT.
All right, easy with that shit.
Yeah.
He's a legend.
He is a legend. God, I miss Home Improvement.
I was thinking Lion King.
What was he in Lion King? Was he
Simba?
Simba? Was he Simba?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. In the 90s one, that's awesome.
Yeah, the original.
You got so excited. You're like, Simba?
Yeah. I like how you said, oh, the 90s one? Yeah, the Lion King.
The real Lion King.
The Lion King, yes.
Yeah.
The 90s one.
No, but I think that'd be cool. I would love for Quicksilver to come back, to be honest.
I think their MCU's so good about that, though, it would definitely be the original actor.
You would like to hope.
Like, I wouldn't even question it. I'm like, oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm
be
sure.
The original
Also,
actor.
I don't know what the fuck else he's got going on. I haven't seen him in anything lately.
All I've seen him in is Age of Ultron. He was in Godzilla, which was ironic because I'm pretty sure it was him and Ashley Olsen.
It was.
They were playing husband and wife.
Husband and wife, yep.
Which was really odd.
He was in the Air Force, I think, in that.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was Kick-Ass, like you said.
He was Kick-Ass. I just watched Kick-Ass again, which was great.
I think I saw him in one other thing, and that's
Kick-Ass gets better every time I watch it. It's a good movie.
I think I saw it one time, and
Maybe.
I didn't hate it. I just haven't gotten around.
So
to watching
weird
it
fun
again.
fact about Kick-Ass. I don't know if I've ever talked about this on the show or not. Kick-Ass was actually, the book and the movie were written at the same time because the writer went to his buddy who did movies and shit, and he was like, hey, I have this idea. And so they started writing, and they had a basic structure of how they wanted it to go, but the endings weren't written. So they were writing the book and the movie at the same time, which is why there's so many differences. And I personally think that the movie is better. So much more likable. Kick-Ass is a fucking weird creep in the book. It's a lot of weird. So Mark Millar can suck a dick. I don't know what's going on there.
His name is Mark Millark.
Mark Millar.
Oh, I thought you said Mark Millark. I was like, his parents hate him.
Yeah, Mark Millar is actually like a legend in comics, but he has his own Netflix deal now where the Millarverse of comics and stuff are going to get their own movies and shit. But
his name should be Mark Millark.
I'm not a big fan, and they call it the Millerverse because Millarverse doesn't roll off the tongue. Anyways, Baby Yoda and Mando were revealed to be in the holiday special, the Lego Star Wars holiday special. And then as soon as like that was announced, they dropped the trailer as well. So there was a trailer. Yeah, there was a trailer for the Lego holiday special, and honestly, it looks amazing. I'm pretty excited because Star Wars. What's her name? Ridley. Daisy Ridley. Is that it? Daisy Ridley. She's voicing Rey in the holiday special, and there's going to be a scene where she gets to fight Darth Vader. So I'm pumped. I'm really excited. And then, of course, the last bit of news before we start talking about The Mandalorian, Season 2, Episode 2, is Mandalorian news. Boba Fett. Heavy rumors that Boba Fett is going to have a miniseries spinoff from The Mandalorian, based in, obviously, the same world, same kind of time frame, and I think it's going to kind of cross over with stuff that happens in The Mandalorian, but it will be Boba Fett-centric. That first episode from last week, a lot of people, obviously, that was Boba Fett's armor that Timothy Olyphant was wearing.
Yep.
And
that was Boba Fett.
At the very end, people assumed that was Boba Fett. It didn't tell you specifically, but you would think that was. Something that I brought up was, and I don't know if I guess we had talked about it last week, was Boba Fett had to have made it out of the Sarlacc pit because the Jawas had his armor,
Yeah, I mean, you can't have his armor unless he came out
They
wearing
didn't.
it.
They didn't fucking get his armor out of a Sarlacc.
No.
You know what I mean? So he had to come out, and then somehow they attained his
Well, and
armor.
then obviously who the actor that was portraying that character was, you would assume because he played Jango Fett. So
Well, and so, but was that him?
yeah,
Oh,
it
see, it
absolutely
didn't look
was.
like him to me because I knew that Boba Fett, the actor who played Jango Fett, was playing Boba Fett in the new one in this series.
Yeah,
And we
that's
didn't
why
know.
like we already know because I think they had already
Oh,
spoiled that.
okay.
They're
See,
like, oh, he's playing Boba Fett.
maybe
and
I
then-
gotta watch it again because, like,
Oh, yeah, it's
we
him.
we didn't know if it was gonna be through flashbacks when they announced that he was
Oh,
gonna be
no,
in it,
no.
right?
He's legit.
So was
there.
that him at the
Yeah.
end? It did not look like him.
Yeah,
Fuck.
he's bald, and
Yeah.
you can tell he's a little older, and
Yeah.
which would make sense
Yeah.
because he falls in the pit. What in Empire, or is that in Return of the Jedi?
He falls in the pit in Empire.
Yeah, it's Empire, right?
No,
When he's with
because he
Jabba?
fights Ewoks, so it's Return.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
still, so and then Mando takes place a couple years after that because it's in between the First Order and the
Yes.
fall of the Empire. So
Well, so this I guess Mando takes place right after the fall of the Empire. Before,
yeah, so okay,
right.
so Boba Fett wouldn't be. I mean, we don't know how old he was at the time, anyways. But
you know what? That's it. That's it. Oh, right, because he
Yeah.
would have been, he would have been older anyways.
Yeah.
He would have been like an
he
older.
was like a battle hardened.
Right. He would have been an older grizzly bounty hunter and stuff, which I think is going to be cool because we know that Boba Fett and Jango Fett, for that matter, were fake Mandalorians. And
Yeah,
they-
because Django didn't give a damn. Because
Yeah.
you go back and you watch Mandalorian, and you're like, wait a second, I'm thinking about Django Fett, and he
Right.
never wore his helmet. And you realize, like you said, they didn't follow
well,
the
well,
creed.
in
they
the
didn't do all
Clone
that.
Wars, they I don't remember what happened, but they said he was like Boba Fett, like that fake Mandalorian stole his armor off
Yeah,
of
they're
so
straight
and so. Yeah.
mercenaries. Yeah,
They're not Mando. So it's going to be cool to see them square off. But speaking of that, that's the end of the news, Matt. And we got some Mandalorian to talk about. Mandalorian season 2, episode 2.
Don't eat those eggs.
Don't eat the gosh. That scarred.
Don't
I feel
eat
like it
those damn
scarred
eggs.
me for life because and people keep making memes about it, but it's fucking true. Like you're watching the child just slurp up this lady's kids, and you're like, no, stop eating the fucking eggs.
I love that Jin is just like, no.
Yeah,
He's
when
like,
he-
oh my god. Like,
when he
stop.
starts like slapping the hand away, it's like no. I
Well,
was
then like the second
Jesus.
time, he's like, I said no.
Yeah.
He's like, don't freaking do this.
There was a part that was the most adorable thing I'd ever seen, and you think that you're getting tired of the Baby Yoda thing, and you never do. And when the attack is kind of over, and Baby Yoda like sad runs to him, and he
Oh,
picks up the child. Oh my god!
Well, that and when he says when they're leaving and the ship's all tattered, and he's like, first of all, he cracks a hilarious joke where he's like, "Hey, wake me up if anyone starts shooting at us or that door flies off."
Oh,
and he
yeah,
goes,
yeah.
Just kidding, because if it flies off, we're all dead.
So
And then he goes to sleep, and then Baby Yoda comes and cuddles up on him.
yeah.
I was
Oh
like,
man, it was
"Aw."
such a good episode. So let's just go over the synopsis real quick. Mandalorian is still on the quest to find more Mandalorians, and he's still on the quest to take the child to its kind.
And he's got a lead in this one.
So he's got a lead. He's back on Tatooine. He's back with the crazy lady who runs the junkyard, I guess is what it is,
yeah,
like a
but
junkyard.
she's such like a cool.
She's great.
ally.
Yeah,
She's awesome.
I love her reoccurrence. And
I like when she says you have to cover his bet. You have to cover his call.
yeah, you have to cover
He's
his
on a
bet.
hot
I loved
streak.
it. So she's like, basically, I have somebody with information, but they'll only give you the information if you agree to give them safe passage to where they're going. She has her children, and she has to go someplace that's habitable for them to hatch, or else it's the end of her bloodline.
And
right?
it's only one world away, which
And
you
it's-
think is not a big deal, but
Right.
he can't travel in light speed.
Can't travel
That's the
light
catch.
speed because I guess she's wanted, the creature.
No, they said her eggs won't survive.
Really? Was
Yeah.
that it?
Because he was like, well, because if you think about it, and Mando explains it perfectly, he's like, well, how do you think we stay safe? It's because we move fast.
Right.
And she's like, well, you can't. You
Yeah.
can't go in light speed. And then, yes, they explain that if they travel in light speed,
Right.
the eggs won't survive.
So he's taking her sublight to the next world or to where they need to go, and it's this adorable lizard frog creature.
Frog
I
lady.
think, yeah, I love it. And there was this one really great part I just want to shout out when she hacks that robot and uses
Oh,
its
yeah.
speech function so she can translate because the Mando can't understand what the fuck she's croaking at. Love it. Anyways, so they crash land. They got a couple of X-wing fighters from the Rebellion or the New Republic that were like ready to, like, give us a check, give us a ping. We need you to ping us. And then he pinged them, and then they were like, "Hey, switch to channel 2 real quick." And
Which, how funny was that scene? Because Mando's just like,
when you see
I
those
don't have
fucking
that technology.
when you see those X-wings open,
Yeah.
and you know shit's about to go down, it's crazy. So they're trying to blow him out of the sky because they suspect he's a smuggler.
Yeah.
And he crash lands on this kind of ice.
Oh, that's right, because
planet.
they referenced the episode from season 1 where they went and got the girl's brother off the prison.
Right.
Because they said, "Hey, was your vehicle near this facility?" And he's like, "See ya."
Yeah.
And just dips. Yeah.
The very, very funny. So he crash lands after trying to evade them, and it's on this kind of ice planet. And they go into a cave where there's these warm springs so that she can keep her children alive. All the while, the child keeps trying to eat her fucking eggs and does eat them and slurps them right up.
Successfully eats at least like half a dozen.
I like when
kids.
he's like, "How many did you eat?" You know, like, and that's when they find these crazy, creepy alien spiders that ruin my nightmares.
Yeah, if you don't feel creepy crawly when you see them show up, because they steadily get bigger. They start off with that because the baby, go figure.
Yeah,
he finds more eggs
and starts eating.
So
them.
he eats one of them. And then they start off as these little baby face hugger looking things.
Right.
Then there's the medium ones.
And then the big ones.
Big
two
mama,
real
daddy,
big
long
ones.
legs.
And it was kind of exactly my feeling when I watched Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And they go into the forest and they start getting chased by spiders. Like,
yeah, it's
awful.
uncomfortable.
So
unsettling.
All in all, they get, you know what? I'm not going to spoil the ending just in case you haven't seen it, but all in all, it works out. Surprise. And
Darth Vader showed up.
It ended up just being a really spectacular, again, anthological episode that I enjoyed very much. We got a little more lore, new characters.
It's another filler episode that I'm starting to realize Mandalorian is known for, but at least they're enjoyable.
Super enjoyable.
Yeah,
and The Mandalorian is a bunch of filler episodes that you later realize were all part of a great story. So the thing I want to talk about the most about The Mandalorian right now is that this show, or this episode specifically, the conversation with the X-Wing pilots, his interaction with Baby Yoda, the little joke at the end of, like, wake me up if the door rips off its hinges. Just kidding. If that happens, we'll be dead. So they're giving him more personality.
Yep.
He was incredibly stoic in the first season. He's opening up. He clearly cares so much for the child.
I was going to say their dynamic has grown. Like,
right.
You can tell their bond, because even the child, it seemed like he was communicating with him.
Right.
Like he would, I mean, obviously he's just cooing. Well, it's funny to watch it with subtitles because all they ever say is that he's cooing or babbling.
Yeah.
And he's just, but they're like talking to each other.
So I like when he's trying to repair the ship and he looks at the child. He goes, "Why don't you bring that over? Make yourself useful." And I'm like, damn, he really, like, they got this father-son dynamic that's so good. And and no,
what do you say? He goes, "No, none of that. Nap time." And he just puts him up in the rack. Like, nap time. All right, come on.
It's great. They're giving him more personality. You're falling in love with Mando, and you're falling in love with the quest. You want the quest to go well. You want to find out who is at the other end of this. Like, who?
Yeah, what's the ultimate goal here?
Right.
Like, what's gonna happen?
What happens? Are we gonna reunite him with his kind? Are we gonna meet more creatures like Yoda? Are we gonna, you know what I mean?
Because obviously they're not referenced in the new trilogy, so you're like, their story has an end.
No. So I'm really, really curious. Not only that, but this is the first time we heard "May the Force be with you."
I was just about to say
show.
that. I was wondering if
so there's obviously our X-Wing pilots are part of the rebellion. They believe in the Force.
Yep.
And it's funny because the only other reference you got was in the first season when they were kind of like
when the armorer
I think he called them religious fanatics or something.
Yeah, because the armorer called them wizards.
Right.
And he's like, "So you want me to find a group of wizards that do this?" And then all of a sudden now they're talking about Force, so they obviously know. And
it was just kind of cool that because he was trying to blend in and he was like, "May the Force be with you and with you as well." And I was like, fuck.
See, I love that this show is congruent, like it's happening. So we know it happens after the events of Luke, Leia, Han, and Darth. Right. And we know that Kylo and Rey, they're around. Like,
so
they exist.
That's my question. So if we're talking like timeline wise, at the fall of the Empire, they don't exist. So are we enough years ahead?
Where they're children?
Are we right after it, or are we enough years ahead that their children, are they out there somewhere? Is there little Ray out, well, not a Ray, I guess. Well, yeah, it would
Yeah.
be, yeah. Well, not a Ray, I guess. Well, yeah, it would
Yeah.
be, yeah. Is there a little Ray out there? Is there a little Kylo, out there?
Ben.
We don't know. Yeah, Ben Kenobi.
Because we know that Luke, Leia, and Han.
Or Ben Solo. What is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben Solo.
Because Luke, Leia, and Han exist, so they're still
Right.
around.
Well, we know that. Yeah.
But that's what I love about the show so much is like in the movies, you're obviously. It's funny because the scale is so grand in the movies, right?
Right.
But if you think about it, you're only seeing one story. You're seeing just the Skywalker saga.
Okay.
So when you see The Mandalorian, you're like, this is just like normal life. Like, this is just stuff that's going on. Like, sure, they're probably up there having lightsaber battles and, fighting for the fate of the universe, but they're down there going, don't eat those eggs. Like, I mean, that's what I love is you get to see what else was going on in the galaxy.
You know what? You're 100% right. It is interesting to think that there's this great Star War going on.
Yeah.
But there was other shit. There was other life. There was people living and trying to, live under the regime and what they had to deal with. Now, this is right after the fall, so there wasn't necessarily a big war going on.
I love
right
that scene where they showed Timothy Oliphant in the bar, and it's basically like they're watching the news, like when the Death Star got blown up, and they're just like, there's just people in a bar. They're just watching it, and they're like, oh, this is great news. Wow, it's over.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm starting to...
It's humanizing, right? It's character building.
Just to give y'all a little reference here, I had already seen season 1. I watched all 10 episodes, the 8 from season 1, and the 2 from season 2, in one sitting last night.
Which, with them being mostly like 30-minute episodes, it's not that hard to do.
Yeah, start at midnight.
5 hours. Yeah.
You
started at
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, I love this show just as much as I did last season, and I can't wait for it to continue. I very much get excited about it.
That's fantastic.
I think that it's oddly shown not only my love for Jon Favreau, who I think is a phenomenal actor and director, and just person in general. I'm a big fan of his, but he has sadly proven that Star Wars is almost better when the Skywalkers are not involved.
I mean, like I said, it's been shoved down our throat for 9 movies. It's so refreshing to see somebody else.
Yeah.
But I don't know about you. Literally, all I'm doing at this point is waiting for Carl Weathers and Gina Carano.
Yeah.
I want them back.
I miss Gina Carano. I do
too.
I guess there's another female UFC fighter who's about to join too.
Well, Sasha Banks is in it also. She's a WWE
really?
fighter.
So I know Sasha Banks. I didn't know that she was going to be in it. That's awesome.
So it might only be a scene. I don't know. I saw it in one of the trailers, and they're like, "Did y'all catch Sasha Banks?" And I was like, "That's crazy."
Do you have any predictions for next week? You can't, right? Because it's so anthological.
Well, yeah, this was a filler, in my opinion.
Do you think it's going to pick up with him already having dropped off, or do you think it's going to pick up where it left off? I think she's already going to be.
I think
gone.
they're going to land, and he's going. I think it'll be resolve that in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
I think he'll still be.
And then
the
next adventure happens on that planet.
Yeah, and
what's going to happen?
Do you think we've seen the last of Timothy Oliphant? Because I do not.
No, that's my thing. Is I really hope that he shows up again. I think what I really hope is that it gets to a crux at the end of this season, and he has to call in favors. And he's like, I got your back, and he shows up, and other people who want to help. Gina Carano shows up, and friends he's made show up and are like, we're here for you.
It's so funny how like throughout the show he is so like, I'm on my own, I do this, but he's making so many allies along the way.
I think that's what I mean, is that you can clearly tell personality wise he's starting to really open up.
Yeah.
And I think that he is smart and tactical, but he also is starting to.
He needs help. He can't do it by himself.
Not even the great Mandalorian can't do it all by himself.
Yeah. I think he's starting to be. Last thing I'll say is I think it's starting to weigh on him too, because in the first one he had the benefit of knowing my people are in our little covert down in the sewer.
Right.
Now he doesn't know where any of them are. He doesn't know if they've survived. He doesn't know where they're at, and I think it's starting to weigh on him where he's like, I don't have my people.
That's fair. I mean, this is the way for sure.
That is the way.
But yeah, man, that's the Mandalorian season 2, episode 2, and I can't fucking wait. So every week for the next 8 weeks, I guess, we are going to be talking about a Mandalorian episode, as well as the news. That's why we kind of tack this on at the end, just in case people don't want to hear the play-by-play. However, we so appreciate it for those of you who have stayed. Real quick, I just want to say today is Wednesday the 11th, 11/11/20. And today, listening to this, new comic books have come out. I'm going to tell you what comic books you should look out for. There's a couple cool ones. The Punchline Special, it's a Punchline one-shot, just came out today. That's super cool because we haven't heard anything from Punchline since the Joker War ended. And all of us want to know a little more about her. We want to know what the next step is for this awesome character now that we know she didn't die. So go pick out the Punchline special. Call your local comic shop. Death Metal Infinite Hours Extreme, the Lobo-centric death metal tie-in, comes out today. I can never get enough of the main man. I think that he is one of my favorite DC characters for sure. And definitely a cool one to pick up. Taskmaster #1. Taskmaster's cool, man. I think that he's a cool. It's a #1, so I think it's going to be an ongoing series. And of course, we got Black Widow that was supposed to come out already. I guess last month, technically October. When was it supposed to come out?
To come out in like March.
So a long time ago. Who fucking knows?
Just like Wonder Woman.
But Taskmaster's a pretty cool character.
Yep.
I'm still convinced it's just going to be Hawkeye, and then he's going to turn into Hawkeye.
I think they've made him cool between the Spider-Man PS4 version of him.
That was a cool version of
the
Taskmaster.
version of him that we should have already seen in the movie,
right?
And the version of him in the Square Enix Avengers game. It's the same thing. He's got like that Casey Jones-esque mask. He just looks cool.
Yeah.
He looks like the Phantasm. It's awesome.
Yeah, we actually at the store we just got some Casey Jones replica masks in from NECA, and they're so cool. Nice. I love them.
Oh, also too, guys, if anybody got Assassin's Creed Valhalla yesterday, hopefully y'all are enjoying that, the Norse Viking version take of Assassin's Creed.
And if you are enjoying that, go ahead and Valhalla at us and let us know how you like it.
Guys, there is an unsubscribe button as well.
Don't
sorry about that.
Power Rangers #1 also comes out. They had Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for a good run. I think it was 50 or 60 issues. And then they split them into 2 books. We have Mighty Morphin, and then we have Power Rangers. They dropped the Go-Go series. So for those of you Power Ranger fans out there, amazing writing. I love Power Rangers, but I got to be honest, I've tried reading a bunch of the books. I just can't get into it. It's really good writing. But I always ask myself, I'm like, oh, I don't care about reading this as much as I do, like, my books that I usually read. Mm-hmm. So, but if you guys are big Power Ranger, man, we have customers at the shop, huge Power Ranger fans. And I think that's really great that IP has kind of stood the test of time and is having a big resurgence of fandom as well.
Man, Bat in the Sun does Power Rangers really well. You know Bat in the Sun, right?
Yeah, Bat in the Sun has a really big thing coming out soon.
Legend of the White Dragon.
No, a different thing. They are doing Legend of the White Dragon.
Talking about the Batman movie?
Yes.
Dying is Easy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I can't wait.
I follow them pretty religiously.
Yeah. So. I saw. Oh God, I can't wait.
And it's cool when they do Power Rangers because they get like Jason David Frank is always like all the actors.
Who is coming back for Legend of the White Dragon, and
pretty cool.
They no, but they do Batman phenomenally as well.
Yeah, they're very famous for what was the one they did in Arkham years ago, City of Scars.
Yes,
they did There's a I believe
a long time ago. Yeah.
If I'm not, because they have
but even just their versus series, like Batman versus Deadpool, that was a great video.
Oh,
man.
yeah, their beatdowns is what made them famous. It's to me. I can't remember if Bat in the Sun did the really, really good Batman versus Predator. I don't think they did, actually.
They did Wolverine versus Predator.
Yeah, I mean, they did all those beatdowns. But there's a very, very good short film.
Maybe not. I don't think that's... you know what? I think I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, it's years old.
I don't know. Yeah, it's like... That was like a long time ago.
Yeah, but they have Kevin Porter as their Batman. He's
phenomenal. He also did Negan in their beatdown.
Yep.
And he was great.
Yep.
The last book I want to shout out is Kick-Ass versus Hit Girl #1. Just came out. There is a new Kick-Ass, or at least there has been a new Kick-Ass for the last year or so. It's a female Kick-Ass, so they're going to fight. Which is just weird because you really don't. I don't know. I read the Hit Girl series that was her going to like Hit Girl in Hollywood and Hit Girl in other places, and I thought it was pretty good. But I don't know.
Kick-Ass should have a villain called Punch Dick. That's just me though. I'll look into it.
You're the worst. It was weird because in Kick-Ass goes to in Hit Girl Goes to Hollywood, it was written by Kevin Smith, and there was a fake Hit Girl who was like dressed like she was playing Hit Girl in a movie, and she was going out at night dressed as Hit Girl in avenging stuff, and she was cutting the dicks off of dudes and then sewing them into a cape. And she was wearing a cape of cut off dicks, and it was phenomenal. It was pretty incredible. Kevin Smith, that's 100% a Kevin Smith move, and fuck if it's just not fantastic.
All of a sudden, I can't sit comfortably.
Yeah,
thanks very much.
Yeah, so. I'll leave you guys on that. Man, we are getting really efficient with this because I feel like we've had great conversation. We got through the Mandalorian stuff. I got to talk about the comic books, and we are coming in at just an hour right now. We're at 59 minutes. And I think that's incredible. Do you remember when we couldn't get through shit without it being 2 hours? I'm sure you guys love to listen to us for 2 hours, but who the fuck is taking a trip to Orlando every weekend, you know?
Yeah.
I know that I have a couple customers out there who are customers and fans and stuff who listen to the show while they're in their trucks, while they're, on the road all the time. We thank you guys so much for listening to us. Please, guys, share us around. Share us with your friends. Let people know. If you see a post of ours that you like on Instagram or whatnot, share it around. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, at BatHatPod. Follow us, the Bat in the Hat podcast on Facebook. I'm going to keep fucking saying it until you do it. Love you guys so much. Matt, you got anything for the nice people?
Just a less vulgar thank you for listening.
Maybe just a little less aggressive.
Very more tender and welcoming. Hit me up on Instagram personally. I'm going through some stuff.
All right, love you guys. Thank you guys so much.
Goodbye.
Good night.